Gonna do a weekly recap of the week type shit. Um, yeah, again, it's just like all the weekly recaps, just gonna be like reactions off of the gap or possible like long-term plays that I could take. So, and none like I did mark out a bunch that are not like normal market open, but if you zoom in enough because the volume is shit, it looks the same. So you have this 50-minute gap that we expect to reject from. There's an inverse right here, but like not really going to be taking that. So we have highs and highs right here. We start chopping around right here, right? I'm guessing there has to be at least a 5-minute gap right here, and we get this this rejection out of it. Number one, this rejection wick, this candle, and this candle. Those are, and we inverse this gap right here. That's that's a good enough reaction for me to go to these highs. 1.2 RR. We sweep out this high. If this one had to get inverse, and we're already pretty close at a high, so not really the best trade. Also, there's no entry right there, but there was a 5-minute right here, I want to say, and we did get a good rejection out of it, but there was this fair value gap, this fair value gap, and then this fair value gap, and then this fair value gap, and so it was just like you could take it like here. We have to go break even at the high. It's just like not a good entry. So yeah, the really only good entry would have been this one, V shape at the bottom. This one, 5-minute gap, inverse this gap. There's nothing else holding us to go to these highs at least. Um, so the thing is right here, a little sketchy just because we inverse this, right? Stops could go down here actually. And I don't know what your targets would be, but there's a higher target you targeted there, obviously. But inverse that gap, go break even at this high. We didn't sweep it on this. I'm guessing probably on the actual NQ, not micro, we did sweep it out. And if we did, I would go break even here. But so that's probably a break even trade, I'm not gonna lie. But this one, right, 15-minute gap down here. We wick, look at these wicks right here, and then we get this huge displacement above this high. We do sweep out this high inside this fair value gap, but like, bro, like we're probably gonna take this out, or this gap is at least gonna hold. We tap into this gap and then we get, that out of it. So easy 1-on-1 play right there. Now we get the market open on Monday. Absolute dog shit. Like, I'm not taking any entries in this shit. Um, PM, get a target lower, right? 5-minute gap right here, or honestly, not even I don't even think that was a 5-minute gap, but what we did get was a displacement below this low right here. And so this is showing us that what do we want to do? Hold on. Let me get the right line because I'm gonna go crazy if it's not the dash one. So we did get displacement a little bit low, showing we want to go lower, right? We have a low right here and a low right here. I believe we had an SMT down here. But easy target right there. That's like 2 RR, way more than I need. Um, we go into this gap, we get a rejection out of it, whatever. We come back up into it, right? And then there's this 1-minute inverse, and I want to see displacement from this gap. We get displacement from that gap, inverse that fair value gap, boom, break even at this low, right? And then you ride it to whatever your target is, 2R right here. Um, yeah, that's super easy. Then we sweep out the low, or we have an SMT down here. We get displacement above these highs. We don't sweep out this high yet. We retrace all the way down to here. Then we get this big ass candle inversing this gap. And as there's nothing holding us back to going to at least this high and probably this high. So would this be a trade I would take on funded? Probably not, just because of like how fucking gigantic this candle is. Because like, where are you putting your stops? But like, I don't know, like being realistic, yeah, not taking it on the funded, but an eval play, not bad. What else? What else? What else? Okay, this is Asia session. See about this high, displacement below that low. We have lows down here we're targeting, right? even in this model, we reject out of this gap. I'm not taking anything in this part because it's just chopping. We displace below all of these lows, inverse all of these gaps. We have this low right here that we're definitely taking. We retrace to a 5-minute gap right here and the displacement we need right here. Those one, two, those candles inversing this gap. Go break even at this low. We should probably follow through. We didn't. You would get break even on this, but it would eventually hit your TP. If it wasn't an Asia session, I'm assuming that would probably work out. What about this? Yeah, so 15-minute gap probably. Inverse this gap. This is a little too early for me. Like we barely close out of it. Then we get another bullish candle after that, and there's again nothing stopping us from going to at least this high and this high. So you would take your entry, stops down here, target this swing high right here into the gap, and go break even at this high. Pretty simple. Goes your TP, blah blah blah. The fuck did I just do? Okay. Bro, why am I in Friday? Oh my fucking God. This shit gets me tight sometimes. Dude, yeah, I didn't even get to Tuesday yet. Fuck. Yeah, Monday, oddly enough, and like Tuesday, really AM was not bad. 15-minute gap right here. V shape out of it. All of these gaps right here that we can definitely reject from big ass gaps. I want to see those inverse. I want to retrace like this gap and then a rejection out of that. And you get that. Now, Tuesday, actual clean day, we sweep out this high right here, displacement below these lows. We retrace into a 5-minute gap. Does it look like we're going to these highs? Not gonna lie, yes. But what we do in this 5-minute gap on the 5-minute, I'm not gonna show because it's gonna fuck everything up. But we're just wicking this 5-minute gap still, even though there was a close right here. On the 5-minute, we're still wicking this. So I'm still expecting us to reject from here, especially with this displacement to the low, and we get this big ass candle inversing these two big ass gaps. There's this tiny ass gap right here, but like we inverse these. We're not gonna support this now. So super clean trade right here. This is I didn't take this just because 10 a.m. news was like right there. And then what do we do again? We have more targets lower, right? We displace below our target right here. We retrace to a 5-minute. We have this 1-minute gap right here, and we get this huge displacement from the gap. Boom, easy. Noon. 5-minute gap, huge displacement, inversing this gap, displacement below these lows, break even here. You get break evened. If you had a bigger stop and you want to play a long game, maybe you could have done that, but I'd just take a break even there. Displacement into the range, retrace to a 5-minute, displace, retrace to this where we expect to reject from, because I'm not gonna lie, these lows look pretty free. We're for the short term, we're at least bearish, right? We have these fair value gaps. If these get disrespected, we're going higher. If these get respected, we get to see displacement. We're gonna go to this low and this low. Yeah, and even if you wanted to play a bigger stop here, if you're expecting these fair value gaps to hold, you enter with this displacement, big stop, and you hold it to wherever 1-1 is, right there. Boom. And yeah, blah 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 blah. Wednesday, pretty sure Wednesday was ass. Pretty fucking ass, yeah. Oh yeah, Wednesday was pretty fucking bad. So Wednesday, right? Comes to the gap we expect to reject from, we displace all these lows, retrace to a 5-minute gap, and I was like, bro, this is it. We're going to these lows, right? If this fair value gap was inverse, oh my God, full port that shit to the lows. But like we didn't get that, so just didn't take that. There was this play where we still have these lows that we expect to reject from. I mean, hit. These are our targets, right? We come back into that same gap that we came in before, and we just dumped, right? And now looking at this, just structure wise, we have these lows. We displace below that strongly, these three big bearish candles. big bearish candles. Sorry, I don't know why that fucking happened. But if you want to play like a big stop, these like the way we dump, are not gonna all of a sudden get a huge retrace and like that. Like if we're doing this, we're not gonna get much for retrace probably. So you can take that play. Not bad. Uh 5 minute gap, right? You want to see these candles inverted. So what do? We come into this gap, come in, we're still respecting these gaps. We come back down, and then we displace above this high, and we inverse all these gaps. We're going to these highs, but yeah. So honestly, in this situation, I probably would target these. I probably would get break even. Break even point would probably be this right here. But if I didn't get greedy and I took it at 1.5, then that's an easy 1.5 right there. Um, yeah, Thursday, Jimmy Carter, bruh, lame ass dude, bro. Why you gotta ruin this shit? Like, I know if he was alive, he would not want market to be closed. So I don't know why they did that shit. Anyways, Thursday, Thursday Asia session. We displace below this low, we retrace right here, and we get I'm guessing this is a 15-minute gap. We start chopping around a little bit. We get this huge wick down. This I would enter on if that closed down there. I actually don't like that too much, but then we get that actual close right there. And so what are we doing here? We're coming at least to this low. You go break even at this low. And yeah, target these lows or these lows. Otherwise, it'd be break even, but all you need is a 1-to-1. 5 minute gap right here. Not much structure in this. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably like a B plus setup, but we are in a bearish trend. We tap to a 5 minute gap and we get some good displacement with these two candles right here. We don't displace below any lows. We don't inverse a fair value gap, so it's not really confirmation. It's more just like the reaction off the gap. But that's a good reaction off the gap, in my opinion. And this is showing us that we're probably not going to go lower. Now, since I entered off of this sweep right here, if we immediately get like a big bullish candle right here, I'm probably going to be out because we're probably going to retake these highs or flip. But yeah. Friday, NFP. Yeah, there's a big ass gap, right? Market opens inside of that gap. We displace lower. This gap should hold. Like bro, like if we got this displacement out of that gap, this high should be pretty protected. Um, as long as you don't get a flip off of this. We kind of get it a little bit, but this is like, is this? I think we had 9:45 news or something, which like this news can't do anything, but the minute after, I got this. What I was waiting for on this was like a rejection wick out of it, or just a normal rejection out of it. And it closed all the way down here. So there's no entry there. But then again, we did close below this low. And if we were like confident on the draw, which I was, but I didn't take this just because it's not how I usually play it. But this leg should hold. This big fair value gap. We do tap into it right here. And then we get this Drake ass candle. We go all the way down there. Yeah, there's that. There's this, right? So except all these lows, not really expecting to be bearish anymore, but we come to this 15-minute and then we get a flip like this, which is honestly a really nice flip. And yeah, we go lower from there. We do have, this is an entry I took. We had a 5 minute gap right here. We tap into it and we get this candle right here, right? So off of, we wanted this fair value gap to get inverse basically. That's the only thing stopping us from going lower. I took my entry just because I was looking at the displacement we're getting and how bearish both the assets were. And I was like, yeah, we're inversing it here. Stops at these highs, right? And then I'm break even at these lows. Honestly, could have taken my TP there, but I think I was on eval taking this, so I wanted to kind of hold to these lows. But I got break even anyways. There's an SMT there anyway, so like that did get swept. Come back into this gap. This is a shitty fucking play in my opinion. because this is the biggest gap in the leg at the lowest spot. And if we're going to reject from anywhere, this is probably the most likely spot we're going to reject from. So off of this candle, yes, you get good displacement from this gap, and but like this is the biggest gap, and we need to see that inverse. And when that is inverse, we're already at the lows. So not a good trade. PM though, we had a 5 minute gap, right? I believe this is on like the 2 minute or something. There's no gaps right here in the 1 minute, but on the 2 minute, yeah, there was a 2 minute fair value gap. First one you kind of respected it. Second one you close right above it. Beautiful. Stops down here. And then take it to honestly, these highs. Like that looks pretty free to me. Um Obviously that is a bigger play, but and you go break even at these highs, but like when you go break even, bro, that should just skyrocket. So it doesn't matter. Another 5 minute gap, get good displacement out of it. This is again like a B setup just because there's no confirmation really. It's just one candle out of it, but like it does look like a good fucking candle out of it. Eval, not a funded type of thing. Displacement lower from this big fair value gap up here. I believe this is the one that NFP created. Displacement from it, displacement below lows, which retrace to a 5 minute. We inverse this gap with good displacement. This would have been a quick break even because there's a gap right here. Probably would have gone break even there. Yeah, I got break even right there. So like it would have gone break even in like a minute, basically. But trade idea does play out. And yeah, that's it for the week. So honestly, like overall price action wasn't bad, but during the actual like AM sessions, they were pretty bad. So basically if I traded London, or I'm not gonna say Asia because I'm never trading Asia, but like if I traded London or like pre-market or something like that, there was some or PM, there were some good ass trades that I could have taken, but I just I shouldn't be on the chart for that long. Um, but yeah, no, like just these reactions are really good to look at. I'm starting a album in my phone, just taking pictures of just the reactions out of the gaps, just so like because what I've been thinking of recently is like, oh, I need to have an order block formation, or I need an inverse for a value gap, or I need like you don't actually like you shouldn't be focusing solely on that, which is what I was doing. Displacement was kind of a bonus, but really what it should be is displacement is the actual entry, and the confirmations or the added confluences are the inverse fair value gap or the order block formation or the market structure shift, like displacing below a low or above a high. Um, but yeah, I just focusing on the actual displacement from the gap is what I should be focusing on. And just reviewing those photos over and over again. I'm like I think it'd be a great idea because when I'm seeing it in the market, there's only so many patterns you can get from a market. Obviously everyone is different, but they're all similar in some way that previously happened before. It would just be easier to have like that light bulb moment that's like, oh, we're going lower now. I'm entering, like getting that light bulb. So yeah, that's it for the week. Um, Only took one trade in the funded, but it was a win. It was under leveraged, whatever. But like now I know for next week. I also know for next week not to over leverage all my evals because I messed that up. Because I over leveraged, it hit the max drawdown, which is 1200. Didn't hit where I initially put my stop, and then ran to my TP. So it should have been a W, but it wasn't. So still, I'm still fucking up on size positions, but I would say 80 to 90% of the time, I know when a good trade is going to happen, and I know where to enter. So it's really just all the nitty gritty shit, sizing and yeah, that's really it.